everyone, this is Brandy Murphy. We're going to be getting started in just about 30 seconds to the welcome to your broadcast, which is about branding yourself as a wellness consultant. I see the Meet On team has joined us, as well as a couple of other people. If you want to just take a second while we're waiting for everyone else to say hello in the chat window. Just keep in mind that anything you write in the chat window can be viewed by everyone, so make sure it's something you're okay with other people seeing. And we'll be getting started with this broadcast in about 30 seconds. While we're waiting to get started, hi Deb, thank you. I agree, Meet On support, everything looks great. Thank you for being here with us, just in case we have any technical challenges. Let me just put a couple reminders out to those of you that are new. Maybe this is your first time participating in a live broadcast. You'll see underneath the chat window there is a button that says on. Right now it has the number 2 on it. That button is very similar to the like button on Facebook. So as we're going through the broadcast, if you are happy with the information, if you like the information, you can go ahead and click the on button, and that indicates that this is a topic that you like and that the presenter is somebody that you find interesting, and it helps us know how we're doing. It's kind of a way of rating our broadcast system. So if you could go ahead whenever you get the chance, if you like the broadcast, click on the on button. And also, as you look through people's profiles, if you click on under pictures or under videos, that's another way of letting us know that you appreciate the information that we're giving you. With that said, let me say hello to everybody there. I see a lot of great people, a lot of people that I recognize, names I recognize in the chat window. Hi everybody, it's great to see you. I'm going to go ahead and get started. The topic of today's broadcast is how to brand yourself as a wellness consultant. And this is an important topic because for those of you who have attended the NC training, the nutraMetrix consultant training in the past, you know that when you come into the training, you have whatever profession you had before walking in, and you're usually embarking on a new journey, a new professional journey when you attend the course. But when you leave the course, you leave with a new identity, the identity of a nutraMetrix consultant. And if you're not a nutraMetrix consultant yet, this topic is still going to be appropriate for you because anybody that is a shop consultant, anybody that's a Market America distributor, has access to great quality wellness products and services. So you might want to brand yourself as a wellness consultant, not only for nutraMetrix consultants to be able to introduce themselves to health professionals that way, but each and every one of us has a goal of developing our own customer base. And a large percentage of the products that we offer through Market America are wellness-based products, products like our very high-quality nutraceuticals, our isotonics OPC3, our omega-3 fish oils, and the heart health line. So you might want to start figuring out how you can brand yourself as a wellness consultant to attract new customers for your own business and new clients or prospects to your organization. So let's talk about that for a second. We're going to talk about using social media as a branding tool, and there's 3 main areas that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is I'm going to talk about Facebook. What I want you to think about right now, before we even get into this conversation, is if I were to go to your Facebook profile right now and take a look at your posts, your pictures, the comments that you put on other people's walls, what does your personal brand look like right now? What type of image are you giving the world when you put posts up on Facebook? And some of you might be giggling because you might realize that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have posted those pictures of me sloppy drunk at the party last night, because your prospects might see those. Now, again, I'm not going to say to you that you can't be a human or that you can't be a person and that you can't celebrate the positive or the fun times in your life by sharing them with other people on Facebook. But what I want you to think about is imagine this for a second. Imagine that you're out marketing yourself as a wellness consultant and you meet up with a potential client, whether that client be a potential customer or whether that client be a potential health professional for nutraMetrix. When you meet up with that client, what would happen if they were to Google your name or put your name in the nearest search engine? Or their favorite search engine. In most cases, your Facebook profile can show up, and if it's a public profile, you never know, they might scroll down and scan through your posts to see if you are who you say you are. Now, If you're going out broadcasting yourself or promoting yourself as a wellness consultant, and on your Facebook profile there's absolutely no mention of wellness, there's absolutely no mention of living a healthy lifestyle, and in fact there's pictures or posts that actually show otherwise, your credibility with that prospect goes way down. So I want you to think about that for a second, because Facebook is going to be a place where people that you know are going to seek out your personal information and look for, what are you all about? What do you talk about? Are you walking your walk? Are you talking the talk that you're telling them you are? And I'm going to give you a personal example about this for a second. Many of you know that I'm a new mom. I have a 6-month-old baby, and when I came back to work after my maternity leave, my husband and I were looking to hire a nanny to come into the house while we were doing some work and when we're out of the office. So what ended up happening is we hired a nanny placement service. And the nanny placement service would send me bios of the girls that were applying for positions, and they would send me profile pictures plus their, let's say it's a CV. And what I would do every time that I got a copy of that is I would look them up on Facebook. And one girl in particular, I find this very interesting, her Facebook profile looked as if the cover page, you know, her cover picture that goes across the top of her timeline, that cover picture looked as if she was in a nightclub that maybe was geared towards a totally different audience, not just your typical nightclub. She was very scantily clad, and many of the pictures that she had posted definitely were not of somebody that I would want to have around my baby often. So her brand that she was representing on Facebook didn't quite represent the nanny image I was looking for. So we did not opt to give her an interview. And that's kind of an extreme example, but I just want you to think about that. What do people think? What kind of image do they get of you when they go to your Facebook profile? Because when you are working with a client and they go there, they're going to be looking to see, is what you represent to them in life showing up repeatedly on an ongoing basis? And remember, they can search your timeline. They can search the history of you. Now, what about Twitter? Let's talk about Twitter for a second. On Twitter, I like to use Twitter as a great way to attract new clients, and I like to use Facebook as a way to engage existing clients, although I will sometimes try to put out new information on Facebook that I want to go viral, that I want to share. So I'll put up interesting images or interesting articles that I know other people will click on and share, and when they share them, it's still going to be tied back to my profile, so I can potentially attract new clients through Facebook. But usually I like to think about as Facebook as being posts for people I already know and keeping them engaged, and Twitter being for people that I want to know or I want to engage. So if you're going to be branding yourself as a wellness consultant, I think it's really important for you to be looking at both Facebook and Twitter and seriously consider what you put on those pages, so that you know that your audience may not be only your friends and family, that people that are exploring your profile could be people that possibly are considering doing business with you. So a couple things to think about. What does that page, keep that in mind all the time, what does your Facebook profile look like for you? Now, I'm just going to ask you a question for a second. How many of you already are thinking about things, you don't have to answer this, but how many of you already are thinking about things like, oh, maybe I should reconsider that post that I put up before, or maybe I need to consider changing what I put up? One of the things that you might want to do is begin posting, if you haven't done it before, begin posting great articles about wellness. Let people know that you are informed about wellness and what's going on in the nutrition industry, what's going on in the wellness industry. If you're new in this industry, realize that by keeping yourself informed, maybe spending 15 to 20 minutes per day getting educated about your industry, subscribing to different blogs of other people, to subscribing to different podcasts, subscribing to different email lists. By keeping up to speed with what's going on in your industry, you have a fresh stream of content delivered to you each and every day that you could talk about on your Facebook page, that you could tweet about on your Twitter page. But there's a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind when you come across a really good article, when you come across a really good podcast, when you come across a really great video. It's great to be able to share them on your Facebook page, but you don't simply want to be a clearinghouse of news stories. So don't just put up the article and tweet it out. Don't just put up an article and say, saw this and thought of you. Comment on it, put some thought into it, elaborate upon the article, share your experiences. So if this is what it says in the article, how does that relate to your experiences? And by you adding valuable information or insight on top of the information that you find in the articles, people will know that you are actually becoming an expert in that field. So constantly educate yourself about your niche, in this case, wellness. Constantly educate yourself about whatever it is that you're representing yourself as. In the NC trainings, we often talk about nutraMetrix consultants not only being wellness consultants in the doctor's offices, but also being business consultants in the doctor's office. So it's very important for me as a nutraMetrix consultant to have an idea of what's going on in the medical environment, the economic environment being faced by health professionals. So I subscribe to a variety of newsletters. I subscribe to emails that I get every day about nutrition, about the medical environment, about practice management, about the economy of healthcare. All the themes that we talk about in the nutraMetrix training, I have resources that I pull from each and every day that I blog about on Facebook, that I tweet about on Twitter. And then I also have some blogs that I run, and they're not under my own personal name, they're under brand names that I've created. And what I'll do on those blogs is I'll talk about articles of my interest and then potentially link off to those blogs. And let me give you a great example of how you can learn from some experts in their field that do that. Many of you are aware, and Deb, that's exactly where I'm going. She said, can you give me some suggestions for those resources? Many of you are aware of Dr. Mercola. In the wellness world, Dr. Mercola is a great marketer. So you can go to mercola.com, although he does sell his own products there, so just be aware of it. And what I want you to do is be a student of him for a couple of days. Not because I want you to purchase his products, or not because I want you to follow him. I will tell you a little bit about this. He's a great info marketer. What I want you to do is just watch what he does. Each and every day he sends out an email that is a digest of what happened the previous day. And usually there's 2 to 3 articles that he's referencing, and he'll record himself on his web camera talking about the article and what his interpretation of the article is, what his spin on the article is. So when you go to his website, there's a lot of information there that's usually a recap of the news and then a link to the news, let's say it was on CBS or 60 Minutes or Dateline NBC. He will link to that article right at the bottom of it, but the majority of the post is his interpretation of the story. He does a great job of branding himself as an expert by compiling other information that he's found on the web and talking about it. And he has a huge following for doing that. Now, Deb, some of the other references that I use, if you're a nutraMetrix consultant and you want to know what other email newsletters that I get, on a daily basis in the area of nutrition, I get one from nutraIngredients. nutraIngredients talks about a lot of ingredients in the wellness industry and upcoming products, products that are becoming out on the market, as well as how to market other wellness brands. In the medical environment category, my favorite blog, and if you follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that I put up a lot of articles referencing something from a site called Kevin MD. Kevin MD is a doctor who is a blogger who often has other guest bloggers on that are doctors talking about how the economy of healthcare is impacting their specific practice. So there's a lot of great information that you can hear kind of from the horse's mouth, from doctors talking to other doctors about how Medicare changes have impacted them, how reimbursement changes have impacted them. So it's a great resource for NCs to be aware of. Another one that I subscribe to regularly is from a company called Fierce. And Fierce has a lot of different industry newsletters, but I subscribe to the one for doctors called Fierce Practice Management. And what I get from Fierce Practice Management is really how upcoming laws or proposed laws could impact the healthcare environment. So I learn a lot about the economy of healthcare directly in that article. So these are just a couple of them. If you follow me on Facebook or you are in the nutraMetrix official support group on Facebook, you're going to find that I am often posting with my commentary about those articles. Fierce is F-I-E-R-C-E. Fierce.com if you look that up, or Fierce newsletters. Now, a couple of other things that I want to talk about with you. So I want you to think about, in your development of your brand, what makes you unique? Yes, we're all shop consultants. Yes, we're all Market America consultants, and some of us are also NCs. But what qualifies you? What makes you unique in the marketplace? What are your particular interests? And this is really important because you're not going to want to spend 15 to 20 minutes every day reading about a field or a topic that you're not interested in. And if you're not interested in reading or learning about a topic, then what you write about that topic is probably not going to be very interesting either. So you need to make sure you can get passionate about the information that you're sharing with others. You need to make sure that it's information that you're excited about and want to dedicate time to learning about. But I guarantee you, if you spend 15 to 20 minutes per day reading about your new field of wellness and branding yourself that way by sending out tweets and sending out Facebook posts, you're going to attract a whole new client base that you didn't think of before, that you didn't have before, because your topics will be so interesting that they will go viral. Another thing that I put out the other day that got 18 shares in the first couple of minutes was I put out a post about how the nutraceutical industry has some quality control issues. Now that might seem a little odd for me to want to put that out. I mean, I represent a nutraceutical company. For me to put out an article about how the nutraceutical industry has some quality control issues, some of you might say, well, why did you put that out? I put that out because we're not like the other nutraceutical companies. As a product manufacturer, we have a whole extra level of quality control. That's something we should be, as a product brokerage company, we're not a manufacturer, and we can be very proud of that we have this extra quality control built in. So I put a post out about how we're proud of our quality control and that we take steps and proactive measures to avoid what was happening in the article. So again, stay on top of your industry by reading every day about what's going on in your industry. Then write about what you've learned and share it with your audience. Share it with your audience, that's your existing contacts on Facebook, and tweet about it so that you can engage new users on Twitter. Now, you may also want to follow other people with your interests on Twitter, because as you follow them, that's just one more source of great information for you. I follow a lot of doctors on Twitter, even doctors that are not part of our organization. I like to follow them on Twitter to see what they're doing, what they're hearing about, what they're talking about, and I listen. And as I'm listening to what they're posting about, guess what ends up happening? I hear what their needs are. I hear what their hot buttons are. So for example, if I'm following an orthopedic surgeon and he's talking about how the economy of healthcare is squeezing him, and he's putting up articles about how he's looking, how to stay in practice, I can private message him on Twitter about our solution. Now, I'm not going to direct market to him immediately. It's not going to be, hey doc, I hear you're hurting, let me show you how you can make some money. But I'm going to build a relationship with him on Twitter by just sending him some articles, sending him some posts that are about how I hear you, I understand how the economy of healthcare has changed, and here are some of the things that we're doing in nutraMetrix to make a difference with that. So when you establish your brand and you're now showing on your Facebook page and your Twitter page, and if you have a blog, that you're an expert in that industry, people are going to see you as the wellness consultant, not as what they knew you from before. You see, you have the potential challenge ahead of you of overcoming the obstacle that people knew you before you became a wellness consultant. They sat around with you on Friday night when you ate the fried food and drank the beer and ate the wings, and they're going to say to you, how is it now that you're a wellness consultant? I've known you 15 years. We've ate like crap together for 15 years, and now you're a wellness consultant? Give me a break. But if on Facebook they see all the new information that you're putting out there, they see you talking about your transformation into living a wellness lifestyle, that's going to make a difference, and you're going to be changing your perception, their perception of you as they see you evolve. Okay? So a couple of other things to think about. Oscar Wilde had a quote that I just really like, and I want to share it with you. The quote was, "Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go." And I want you to think about that for a second. Let me say it again. Some cause happiness wherever they go, and some cause happiness whenever they go. Which type of person are you? Are you the type of person that when you walk in a room, people light up? Are you the type of person that leaves behind wherever you go a kind of a positive vibe, that people were happy you were there? Or are you the type of person that's maybe going through a lot right now and it might be in a negative space, and if you're in a negative space, once you leave, people are like, whew, I'm glad she's gone. I couldn't stand listening to her complain anymore, or listening to him complain anymore. I want you to think about this as you're building your brand. People do business with people they like. So it doesn't matter what product line you carry. It doesn't matter what company you represent. If you don't represent yourself well, and if you aren't someone that somebody wants to do business with, even if you have the best products on the market, which we do, people aren't going to want to do business with you. So you might be doing everything right, saying all the right things. You might have great product knowledge. You might really know your stuff. But if when you walk into that doctor's office, the staff can't wait until you leave, that might be one of the things that is holding you up and not allowing you to achieve your goals. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you a couple of factors that might help you become a little bit more likable. And I don't mean that to sound weird. In fact, I'm going to give credit to where this information came from. I'm going to make a book recommendation for you. There's a book called Enchantment. The book Enchantment was created by the guy that really helped get Apple its loyal following, the guy that really helped develop the Apple brand, and it's a guy named Guy Kawasaki. And you can look up, just type in the book Enchantment, and he really talks about how to create a brand that is likable. A brand like Apple, where people will line up on the streets for hours or days before a new product launch, even before they know what the product is all about. And Guy said in his book that there's really 4 factors to achieving likability. One of them is your handshake, and that you need to have a good, strong handshake. And he gives you a very long, elaborate, and funny formula on how to develop the proper handshake. But it really starts with looking the person in the eye and giving a genuine smile and having a strong but firm handshake that's the appropriate length and time. I'm not going to go into all those details right now, but you know that you've shaken the hands of people before where you were like, ugh, after you shook their hand, thinking, why did you hold on to it for so long? Or why is your hand so wet? Or why did you hold it with such, a limp hand? We want strong, firm handshakes. So we want to have a firm handshake. We want to give nice eye contact. We want to make sure that we are genuine and that we're honest and we're authentic and we're not trying to be somebody that we're not when we're out and meeting people. We also want to make sure that we're dressed appropriately, that we're dressed to be equals with the person that we're wanting to do business with. So these are some of the things that could generate some likability for you. But one of the biggest things that he talks about that helps to create likability in a brand is that you know what your mission is. That you have a mission that you're so excited about and so passionate about that you really are like what JR talks about all the time when he gives presentations. When you're so excited about your own mission, you say, get out of my way. You're not going to stop me. I'm going to do this because I'm going to make it happen. This is something that I want to do. When you become passionate about your mission, then your brand helps to build itself. So here's what I want you to think about. I promised that this would be about a 25-minute broadcast, and that's what I want to stick to. I really want you to remember that if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to go the extra mile and spend 20 minutes, 15 minutes to 20 minutes max, reading about your industry each and every day. You're going to put up Facebook posts about it. You're going to tweet about it each and every day. And I'm not saying, spend one whole day and send out 50 tweets and 20 Facebook posts and then not do it again for the rest of the week. Consistent messages across the board on your Facebook page, on your Twitter page, about your brand, promoting what you're excited about. And when people see that you're passionate and excited about it, they're going to want to do business with you because they're going to see that you're real, they're going to see that you're genuine, they're going to see that you're walking the walk and talking the talk at the same time, and not just being a hypocrite talking about it, but living a completely different way. So you can use social media to capture your transformation into this brand, changing people's perceptions from what they used to know you as to what you now are, and then continue to keep that information relevant, keep them engaged. The more value you provide to them, the more likely they're going to be to spread that information virally by retweeting it or reposting it on Facebook. and give yourself, I'd say, anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to really get your brand up and going in the social media space. It's not something that happens overnight. Sometimes, I follow a lot of you back on Facebook or on Twitter, and sometimes when I see what some of the distributors post in terms of their messages, they're very, very salesy. They're, this is the best product, you need to buy that, and that's all the message is, and they post it every hour. And that's a really great way to get you unfriended. And that's a really great way to get you unfollowed. So what I want you to keep in mind is that you want to continuously engage your followers. You don't want to throw up all over them to the point where they want to leave your page. You want to be asking them questions. You want to listen. You want to develop a good relationship with them. And over the next, let's say 3 months to 6 months, you want to make sure that you're consistently posting nice messages, engaging them by asking them questions. Be patient with yourself as you transform from what you had before on your social spaces until now what you want to be. So I'm going to give you some homework today. That homework is I want you to sit down and identify what your mission is as your brand. I love the mission of nutraMetrix, which is to help change the health of our country by working with health professionals. That has really become my brand. And so when I'm creating posts, I am looking at a very big picture. I'm not just looking about attracting one new customer and getting one sale. I'm looking to create posts that educate people on a mass scale. And I get really excited about that. And I want my posts to be shared by other people so that everybody understands that I'm about wellness. Now, I will tell you, I also post about my family life. If you go to my profile, you'll see a lot about my baby right now. I have a 6-month-old baby. You'll see a lot of his pictures. But in between those posts, you're going to see articles about the pharmaceutical industry, the wellness industry, the economy of healthcare. And I'm going to encourage you, go ahead, steal those posts if you want to. Share them. But don't just share them. Actually comment on them, add your own spin, add your own experience into it, and I guarantee you that's going to help create your brand as a wellness consultant, and you'll be able to use that to attract new customers and new prospects to your business. Now, we're about at the time that I said I would end, so let me just take a second. I see there's a couple of comments there. Does anybody have any questions before I get off of the broadcast? Thank you very much for those of you that liked the topic. If you do like the topic, please make sure to hit the on button. And great, thank you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me on Meet On today. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and I'll see you again on Meet On soon. Have a great day.